What up? It's your boy, the Incredible Man, and yes, I am back at it again, and this is 911 Lone Star, Season 3, Episode 18, Season Finale Discussion/Review, titled A Dark and Cloudless Morning, man. I gotta say, I really enjoyed this finale, man. Let's talk about it.
I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I go by at night, I be in my feelings, I'ma be fine.
I really enjoyed this finale, man. It was very good. Honestly, I knew that it was going to be a tad bit more Owen-centric because of the preview, because we saw that he was actually hurt, but it dove a little bit more into his psyche of how he feels and how he holds on to things because he can't save people. And that's not a bad thing, but I just knew it was going to be kind of Owen-centric because whenever they tend to break away from the Owen-centric episodes, they just find a way to kind of revert themselves back to the Owen-centric episodes. But I will say this, they divided this episode nicely enough to where we got enough Owen and enough of Judd in, like the 126 and every other character that's, important to the series. It's picking up right after last week's cliffhanger where we see Judd go into the building and the building explodes, but it's starting from like maybe just a few moments before, because we see the dude that Wyatt was supposed to meet having another business meeting, Judd on his way up, Judd entering into his office, and the guy's going downstairs to check the gas leak. And that's where we started this episode, and boom bam, just trying to have this whole conversation with this dude just being rude, like straight up rude. Sure, Judd barged in there, but I mean, the dude is just being rude, man. Judd came in there all nice and polite, and the dude is just being rude. And it kind of came into play during the whole explosion itself, because they were having a conversation and boom, bam, the explosion took place. And the dude was like, we're going to take the stairwell and leave and just get up out of here. And Judd was like, I don't recommend it. I recommend you come away from the structural damage. And then we see that Judd re-injured his leg. He re-broke his leg again. And we see that Wyatt's calling 911. He's talking to the 911 operator, and then Grace kind of takes over. He was like, well, I don't know what's going on. Like, Judd went into the building, like, I don't know what's happening. Wyatt was freaking out, man. You can tell he was like seriously worried, because we knew that Judd was okay, but he didn't know that. And we see that Grace called Judd. He was like, it's 911. And the people that was in there with him and trapped in the building, 911 called him? Oh yeah, I'm sticking with him. Now, he did tell him he was a firefighter. Dude didn't want to believe him at first, but dude was like, 911 called him? Yeah, I'm going to stick with him. I did feel bad for the other dude, though, because the only reason he got hurt is because he decided to run away from when the explosion started taking place. Judd and everybody kind of stayed where they were, so they just fell to the bottom floor. Dude had, like, the building kind of collapse on top of him, but they did try to save him. It just wasn't enough, man. He had the rebar in his neck. It was just too late. But we see that Judd is working with these people trying to escape, because they have like a good escape plan that Owen and everybody had set up. But now we're dealing with this episode, and we see that Owen went to see his oncologist, and there's just like a little lump on his lungs, and he fears that the cancer may be back, and the doctor's telling him that, that's a possibility, but that may not be true. And we also see that TK is dealing with the consequences of Carlos filling out his will, and TK doesn't want one because he feels it's a little bit morbid. And I feel like that's the whole overall of this episode, because they do work a dangerous job, and everybody told TK that they have a will, you know what I'm saying, because they work a very dangerous job. And I feel like Owen having this whole thing going on with the will, well, especially, with like death and everything, and, feels like the cancer's kind of looming over his head yet again, he feels a certain type of way. And when they find out that Judd is trapped in a building, I feel like Owen put a lot of pressure on himself, because he went into this distracted. And that's one thing you cannot do. You cannot go running into a fire or in their case, a collapsing building with your mind somewhere else. Now, he was trying to focus on the case itself, and rescue the people and everything like that. And we see him getting wrapped up in that. But at the same time, we know that his focus is also somewhere else. Now, we see that Judd and the people are starting to escape, and Judd is talking to like the big tech guy, and was trying to get Wyatt another interview. He was like, look, man, your son, he got the job. He's already been promoted twice. If you get us out of here, he's set, man. I'm just going to be 100%. It was funny, but like it was a serious thing as well. We see the people coming together to help Judd, because he can't walk on his own because he re-broke his leg. But I love to see them putting in the effort, and then they ended up getting the safety and everything. Now, we know that Owen is feeling some type of way this episode. But he's in there. He saved the security guard, but now he's trying to find the gas guy a little further down, and boom, bam, another explosion takes place in the building, and Owen is trapped. Now, in that moment, I figured something was going on, but I didn't know exactly what. But as the episode progressed, we see that Owen is knocked unconscious, and he's kind of reliving the past of 9/11 because he just can't seem to let it go. That's the place he goes to whenever something major bad happens, because that's where he feels like he's, where he's at in his life. And the dude said this episode, Owen he's been trapped down there for 20 years, and he's held on to the little piece of the steel or whatever from the building, and he just holds on to it as a memento. And the dude was like, you just need to let this go. You need to live and just move on past this. Nobody's asking you to forget. You know what I'm saying? You can still remember, just don't hold on to the past. And that was the whole overall consensus of this episode, especially for Owen, because we see that Gwen has made another appearance this episode. Sure, she's there only as like a conscience for Owen to kind of just move forward, but she really helped him in his process. So him going to therapy this season and getting this whole overall consensus to let go of the past, we're starting to see a different side of Owen. And I love that him and TK finally had that talk. Owen hadn't got unconscious inside the building and everything like that. He probably wouldn't have had this talk with TK, but that kind of opened TK's eyes as well. And then that's pretty much how everything revolved around the episode. Owen ended up being fine. Judd ended up being fine. Got like 6 pins in his leg, but everything turned out okay. Wyatt graduated. Mateo and Nancy are in full-fledged relationship mode. TK and Carlos got engaged, and TK's willing to do his will. Now, the only thing I didn't like about this episode was TK and Carlos's engagement. I think it's good. At the same time, I feel like it's rushed. I feel like it's rushed because TK, I know TK is, they've been together for a minute, true. But I feel like TK is kind of rushing it because I'm not saying he doesn't love him, and I think they do love each other, but I feel like TK is rushing it because he fears, he doesn't want to lose another parent. He felt a little morbid about doing the will. He doesn't want to just lose anything else. So I feel like he decided to marry Carlos out of necessity, if you will. I'm not saying that their love isn't true or whatever, but I'm just saying I feel like in this moment it feels just a little bit rushed, in my opinion. Now, I'm not saying that their relationship won't last and their marriage could last for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, but I'm just saying it felt a little bit rushed. But I am happy that they decided to do it. Everybody else seems happy about it, so we'll just have to see how it plays going into next season. But I am happy that they're showcasing their love. It's just that I just don't feel like it was the right time for that. I mean, he woke up in the middle of the night, death is just lingering around them, and I want to get married. You know what I'm saying? It just felt rushed in my opinion, but we'll see how it plays out in next season. Overall, episode was good. I really enjoyed it. There was the moments where you were a little skeptical about things like, well, is Judd going to be okay? Is Owen going to be okay? But they ended it on a high note, so now we got to go into season 4 with all that hype and happiness. But we always know that 911 and 911 Lone Star is going to start the season with a catastrophe. That's just given, man. Overall, we see Owen and Tommy having their friendship bond. Tommy with her daughters. It just was a nice ending. We get to see Charlie also. It just was a nice ending to set everything up for season 4. And like I said, when it comes to 911 and 911 Lone Star, I don't need a cliffhanger season finale, because we come hardcore in the season premiere. But overall, I loved it. A wonderful season, man. I really enjoyed it. There were some ups and downs throughout the season, but overall, I really enjoyed it, man. This is your boy, Dick Incredible. Don't forget to smash the like button until you can't smash any more. Comment down below, and I'll be sure to respond to each and every one of them and subscribe, but only if you really want to, man. Peace out.
All out, and I am here to stay right now, so don't call